I'm excited to talk to Shannon Buggs, who directs the Complete Communities Initiative. Shannon, for those of us who don't know why Complete Communities was started, could you just give us a little background on why Complete Communities was begun and what the major goals are of the initiative?
Yes. Um, the Complete Communities goals and why it was started is because of Mayor Turner. And in April of 2017 is when he launched the Complete Communities Initiative. And too often we've had communities that suffer from long term economic distress allowed to languish behind the rest of Houston. We are a city known for our economic mobility. We are a city known for innovation, economic growth, and people having the ability to tap into the job market here and transform their lives. But we have a lot of people who have been left out of that prosperity of Houston. And it's not just from a job standpoint, it's also from their neighborhoods, the places that they love the most, the places that they call home, where their families, their friends, their churches, their favorite parks are. And to see that level of economic distress continue in this city in this 21st century, Mayor Turner just said was unacceptable. But he's accelerated those efforts by saying that he will partner with private companies and public entities that bring more resources to our most underserved and under-resourced neighborhood in order to move things forward, to bring about the economic development that these neighborhoods need while still keeping them affordable for the people who live there. And keeping them affordable means also helping them to improve their overall quality of life. It's not just increasing the amenities in those neighborhoods, but also addressing the long-term systemic disparities that have been in effect, working on education, healthcare, public safety, all of the issues that reflect back a person's quality of life.
Paint a picture of what this means in Third Ward or Sunnyside or Fifth Ward or one of the communities where you feel like you're really, you have a completed resident plan and you're really engaged in action.
We have 4 major capital projects at the mayor identified as significant efforts that needed to happen in order to change the physical character of those neighborhoods, to bring more hope to the residents and to attract more economic development. So in Acres Home, that's the Bethune Empowerment Center, where a middle school campus that had been closed down and the students moved to another campus because of declining enrollment and disinvestment, quite frankly, and not having enough funds coming from outside resources for the school district to maintain that property. That campus is going to be transformed into the Bethune Empowerment Center, which is a workforce development center for all of the Acres Home and Northeast Houston area. And we are in the process of getting our lease agreements and assignments of lease and managing operation, all the documents needed to get started on construction this year on that project. But it also will have things that are very reflective of the Acres Home community. We're looking to have a community garden there and child care center and other amenities that the residents themselves said they wanted to have in that workforce development center. Then we also have the Sunnyside Solar Farm, where we're taking a landfill that was active in the early 20th century and has been an eyesore and really a concern related to environmental justice for the city. We're working very hard to have that converted into the nation's largest urban solar farm. And also working through how this whole project will benefit the residents of Sunnyside and being very deliberate in identifying those benefits to the community and getting them down on paper and saying this is how we will be moving forward.
If a donor is looking to get involved in Complete Communities or to give to support the initiative, what advice do you have for them?
One of the most fabulous things about Complete Communities that is resident-centered, resident-led effort. And the city is a facilitator of connecting donors to residents' highest aspirations for their neighborhoods. And so what's in those action plans are a blueprint to help companies and philanthropists connect their social values to the work that is most important to some of Houston's most economically distressed residents. And so our office helps donors to connect what they prioritize with what the residents have prioritized.
We have many donors who have been moved by the racial justice movement, which, reached new horizons because of the unfortunate murder of George Floyd. How do you help donors understand how complete communities is impacting structural racism in our community?
People wanted to do something. And so many people came to Mayor Turner saying, we want to start something new. We got to do something on racial equity. We got to do something on social justice. We've got to. And he said, we already are. We have been doing this work. Complete Communities is an equity initiative. This is the work. It's not creating something new for people. It's actually listening to what people have been telling you all along is what they need and want, and then delivering on it.
What do you hope uh, comes out of this experience? And what do you want donors to know that I haven't asked you about?
What I want people to know is that the people who live in the complete communities are no different than you or anyone else. And the future of Houston is dependent on us being able to elevate those underserved and under-resourced neighborhoods. This is a long-term effort. Mayor Turner has launched something that should continue to live on past his administration because these residents, these neighborhoods deserve that. To have been left out of this prosperity for so long, to have been redlined, right? A lot of what we're dealing with in terms of the equity efforts of complete communities is addressing the historic disinvestments, the historic disparities that sometimes continue to this day.
So it sounds like you also need change in the private sector in order to make this initiative work. So when you discover that kind of situation, that the bank loans are not going to people in the community, how do you push the levers on the private sector to try to get them to change their own investment or their own loan policies to make a difference?
That's a challenge, right? The private sector has a goal of making money. And when they have used traditional models that tell them that they can't make money in these particular neighborhoods, it's very hard to shift them away from what they feel the data says. But one of the things that, especially with our opportunity zones, right? Houston has 99 opportunity zones where there is lots of financial incentive tax credits that allow people to make long-term investments into neighborhoods that have been economically distressed. And with those opportunity zones, one of the things that the city of Houston did was to say the data points that you're using to assess these neighborhoods are incomplete. You don't have enough information to truly evaluate your ability to make a successful long-term investment into these neighborhoods. And so we worked very closely. Our Office of Economic Development hosted an Opportunity Zone conference where we showed them these are the different data points. A major banking institution was developing an online database to serve as a resource to Opportunity Zone investors. And our city was the only one that had, out of the major US cities that they were including in this database, ours was the only one that had anything like the Complete Communities Action Plans, where you had resident identified projects and programs that people wanted to move forward. And so when we're working with the private sector, having those Complete Communities Action Plans and helping them to reassess how they do business in our Complete Communities neighborhoods is really very much based on showing them what we have in those action plans and how they can connect immediately in a community that wants their presence there.
As we try to celebrate Black History Month and listen to leading Black voices in our community about how philanthropy can play a more supportive role, what do you hope, for when you keep going every day on all this work? What are your hopes?
I am a native Houstonian and a sixth generation Texan on my mother's side. And I was determined that my own children would be seventh generation Texans, and they are, raising them here in the third ward and want them to want to continue to live here in this neighborhood that they grew up in, where their grandparents are on both sides of the family. And so for me, Complete Communities is a personal mission um, of reflecting back myself and also creating a strong future for my own children. Um, it's 365 days a year work for me. Black History Month for me is an all-time everyday activity. But that is one of the most important things is that it's been an honor and a privilege working with Mayor Turner to make this initiative come forward because I do think it makes a difference for all of Houston.